In this strange kingdom, beauty was a curse and ugliness was a blessing. The uglier you were, the higher your status. Hey, he's not dangerous. He doesn't eat people. Not dangerous. Not people eating. Hi there, Ziola here. Welcome back to my channel. In the next 2 episodes, we are going to dive into one of the most fascinating stories in Liaozhai, the city of the Rakshasas and the sea market, or Luochahai Shi in Chinese. A quick side note, the word Rakshasas actually comes from Sanskrit. It means a kind of fierce demon from Indian mythology, but something wild and terrifying. So when the word eventually came to China, it was used to describe ghostly beings or strange distant lands. Our story today is about a guy named Ma Ji. He was the son of a merchant, very handsome, talented, and full of charm. People often call him Long Mei, which was his courtesy name. Now, in ancient China, a person's courtesy name, called Zi, was given when they reached adulthood. If you ever tried learning Chinese, one of the first sentences you will probably learn was 我的名字是, which means my name is. So, 名 is the name you given at birth, and 字 is the name that you were given when you reached adulthood. But in modern days, people just use one name for everything. Long Mei grew up loving music and dance, and he was incredibly gifted at performing. By the time he was 14, he had already passed the local exam and earned quite a name for his talent and good looking in his town. So yeah, he wasn't just talented in art, he was smart and handsome too. But his father didn't think studying would get him anywhere. He wanted Long Mei to give up the books and learn how to trade instead. One day, Ma Ji joined a trading trip overseas, but their ship got caught in a violent storm and drifted days until they finally reached a strange city. The moment Ma Ji stepped ashore, he was shocked. Everyone there looked incredibly strange and ugly. The locals, seeing his handsome face, screamed in terror and ran away for their lives, shouting that he must be a monster. Now, remember, he was famous for his good looking in his town. At first, Ma Ji was scared too. He was lost in a strange land and was starving. But once he realized that they were afraid of him, he started using it to his advantage. Whenever he saw people eating, he would walk up to them and they'd scatter, so he just ate whatever they left behind. After a while, he reached a small mountain village. The people there looked a bit more human. But they all dressed poorly, like beggars. So when Ma Ji rested under a tree, they watched him from a distance. They were too afraid to come close. Eventually, seeing he meant no harm, a few of them get closer. They try to talk. Though they speak a different language, Ma Ji could understand partially. He told him who he was and where he came from. The villagers, amazed, and quickly spread the word that the stranger wasn't dangerous. Apparently he didn't eat people after all. And later, a few brave villagers invited Ma Ji to join them for a meal. They explained that their ancestors had told the story about a faraway land called China, where people looked strange and different. They never believed it was real until they met him. The more Ma Ji saw, the more confused he felt. In this strange kingdom, beauty was a curse and ugliness was a blessing. The uglier you were, the higher your status. To Ma Ji, it was as if the whole world had been turned upside down for him. And he was the only one who doesn't belong. Before long, Ma Ji started his journey home. But as soon as he walked into the city, people saw him and screamed, running for their lives like they'd just seen the monster. The villagers kept shouting, "Hey, he's not dangerous. He doesn't eat people. Not dangerous. Not people eating." Only then did the crowd stop, but they still stared from a safe distance. Word got around very fast that some weird-looking guy from another land had shown up. All the rich folks and the officials wanted to see him, so the villagers tried to take Ma Ji around to meet them. But every time he showed up at someone's doorway, bam! They would slam it shut right in his face. He could still hear people whispering inside, but nobody was brave enough to actually come out and meet him. So finally someone said, "Okay, there's an old court officer nearby. He used to travel aboard for the king, so he's probably not scared of you." So Ma Ji went to visit him, and sure enough, the old man was thrilled. I'll call him Gary. So he said, "I've met people from all over the world, but never from China. This is incredible. I must tell the king." That night, Officer Gary threw a feast. He called in all the dancers and singers, all dressed in red robes and white scarves. Their faces fierce and strange. The music was wild. The rhythm was completely off, but everyone loved it. Gary asked, "Do you have music like this in China?" Ma Ji smiled. Something like it." "Then sing it for us." Okay, so Ma Ji really took the stage. He tapped on the table and sang one of his own songs. The whole room went silent. When he finished, Officer Gary clapped his hands and cheered. The next morning, the officer went to the palace to report to the king. The king was curious and wanted to meet Ma Ji, but a few ministers whispered, "Your Majesty, the man looks terrifying. You might get scared." So the king changed his mind. When Officer Gary returned, he sighed. He said, "I'm sorry, friend. The king wanted to see you, but his ministers talked him out of it." So one night, Ma Ji got drunk while drinking with Gary. Feeling silly, he grabbed some coal and smears it all over his face and pretended to be the ugliest person he ever knew. Gary laughed so hard. "That's perfect," he said. "If you meet the prime minister looking like that, he'll love you. You'll be rich and famous in no time." Ma Ji chuckled. "Come on, Gary. It's just a joke. I can't really change my face just to get ahead." But Gary kept pushing until Ma Ji finally gave in. So the next day, Gary threw a party and invited a bunch of important officials. When they saw Ma Ji, they were shocked. Wait, didn't he used to look ugly? He actually looks kind of good now. Everyone drank and laughed, and when Ma Ji started to sing and dance, they were totally amazed. The next day, they went to the king and recommended him. The king was pleased and called Ma Ji to the palace. He asked Ma Ji about China, and Ma Ji answered so wisely that the king was very pleased. At dinner, the king said, "I heard you were good at music and dance. Now show me." So Ma Ji wrapped a piece of white silk around his head and performed. The king loved it and made him an official on the spot. As time went on, people at the court started whispering about Ma Ji's strange look. Feeling lonely and uneasy, he asked the king to let him retire, but the king said no. So he asked for a short break instead, and this time the king agreed. Ma Ji loaded a carriage full of gold and jewels and headed back to the mountain village. When he arrived, the villagers were so excited they knelt to greet him. He shared his wealth with them, and in gratitude they said, "Sir, tomorrow we are heading to the sea market. Maybe we can bring back something special to thank you." Ma Ji blinked. "Sea market? What's that?" It's a huge market that appears right in the middle of the ocean. 鲛人, you know, a kind of sea people. They came from all four seas to trade pearls and treasures. You might even see spirits and gods wandering around. When the red bird starts flying over the sea, that means the market will be open in 7 days later. Ma Ji grinned. That sounds amazing. I'm coming with you. The villagers tried to stop him, saying it was too dangerous, but he just laughed. I've already crossed the ocean. I'm not afraid of few waves. And that's the first part of the city of the Rakshasas. In this part of the story, we see how Ma Ji used his unusual looks to his advantage, and how he struggled with having become something that he was totally disgusted by. I mean, we've all been there, right? In order to fit in, we ended up compromising so much of ourselves. But don't worry, just like Ma Ji found those villagers who supported him, you'll always find people who look like you from the inside and understand you. Friends like that will often lead you to a place where you can truly be yourself. And you'll see that in part 2 of Ma Ji's story, when he journeyed into the mysterious sea market, witnessed strange wonders, and discovered things that will change his fate forever. I'm Ziola. I'll see you next time. Hi there, Ziola here. Do you ever find yourself missing those childhood stories as a teen or young adult? Some of them felt very scary when you first heard them, and some seemed pretty strange once you look back on them later. Before I moved to the US, I was already super familiar with Greek mythology, Bible stories, and a lot of classic Western fairy tales. But after I got here, I realized that most people around me had never even heard about the old myths or the stories of China. Some of my friends might know a bit about Japanese tales because of the anime they're watching, but Chinese tales, almost no one. That's why I'm starting this channel, to share some of the amazing stories I had grown up with. Some were told to me by my grandmother, and other came from this classic book, Liaozhai, which literally translates to Tales Told at the Dinner Table. Anyway, I hope you enjoy these stories. Drop a comment to let me know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe.